What's going on, family? My name is Calvin madeS.O.N Early, and I am the CEO of the Spoken Word Exchange and the creative director of the Poetry Potluck, and I am this month's featured ARTrepreneur.
How you develop this unique style and its impact to your audience?
I would say that I've created nothing on my own, first and foremost. Imitation is the, Imitation is the greatest form of flattery, I believe they say. And everything about me is bits and pieces of people that I've picked up along my travel and along my journey. I've learned from so many others how to do that. And I think I've picked up on the things that I was most impressed by with other people. It could be sometimes the most random things, but in this scenario, Will the Real One Bell, who is a legend in our community and a mentor of mine. I remember watching Will on stages and how he could switch between emotions, and in one instance he's cracking a joke and everybody's laughing. He might be cracking a joke about you and you're laughing too, but it's clearly all in love and it's still inviting you. It's still like almost like I know that this is a connection between us. I know that this is not somebody putting me down or trying to make fun of me. It's somebody bringing light to something obvious in the moment that we all can see. And that was another way of, I learned that as a means of pulling people in. I learned that as a means of connecting the audience to what was happening in front of them. So they're not just watching, they're not spectators, they are part of what we're doing. We are actually all in this whole thing together. So I loved that part of it and wanted to understand, how would I do that in my own way? How can I create that same effect, but these are my words, my emotions. It's still the way that I would do it. How did I make my audience a part of what's happening here on stage?
Growing up in Liberty City, Scott Carver projects, and later in Little Haiti, how have these neighborhoods shaped your perspective on community activism and your work you do today?
The hood never sleeps.
Gotcha.
The hood never sleeps. There's always something going on. There are always so many personalities. There are so many stories either occurring or being retold. And I watched storytellers. I watched people who were always fully engaged in whatever they were discussing, and I had always been a sponge. So I'm soaking that up and I'm listening to them and I'm regurgitating the stories later to somebody else. And it would be really much later that I learned how to analyze and really extract messages or morals from those stories that were happening in front of me. But I learned first how to imitate what I was seeing. And I was seeing such a diverse group of people that it became a part of who I am. Because again, that pulling from other people, these little bits and pieces, all of these great things are really the what is who I am today. It's the culmination of so much observance, really observing and being introspective in my observances from other people. In the hood, there's no shortage of things to observe. There's no shortage of movement. There's no shortage of real life occurring at all times.
Calvin, you mentioned that exploring Miami through the eyes of a tourist is important. How do you think this mindset can foster a deeper connection to the city and its diverse communities?
If you ever, there's so many places in Miami where you can sit around and be just as much a stranger as the stranger sitting around you. And because nobody knows what a person from Miami looks like. And so when you sit around different people and you listen to their perspectives on the city, the first thing that happened to me is anger. Like, how dare you talk about my home and you have no idea what you're talking about. Even if you think you're saying something, you believe you're saying something positive, you're really speaking from an outside lens. The more I traveled, the more I realized I did the same thing in other cities. The more I understood why people might feel the way that they feel about my city, given where they might be coming from and what they might have experienced. And I also learned that it's not ever going to be helpful for me to only understand the city from my perspective, because it is skewed. It is by many accounts, it's false, because I'm biased to the city. It's going to cause me not to be analytical about the things that other people say, because again, how dare they? But the more that I learn from outside perspectives, the more that I can really pour into my city from a much more objective place. I know all things. I know what it feels and looks like to be from here. And I also know what it is, because I'm going to make excuses. I'm going to tell you why it's that way, rather than saying, but it probably shouldn't be. But if I don't know that it's a problem, I can't call it a problem, and I can't do anything about it. So picking up and listening to other people I found to be very beneficial. So we have to see the city the way the tourists do. We have to engage the city the way the tourists do. I have to hang out a little bit differently. I want to go some other places. There are places that you generally don't go when you're from here. There are places that people may even think are not from them. I didn't grow up going to the beach on a random Monday. Going to the beach was a thing. It was, if my mother was going to take me to the beach, she immediately would say 15 things in succession and then be like, you know what? No, I'm not going. I grew up with that same exact mentality. Like, I need this, I gotta park, I gotta get food, I gotta invite other people. You know what? I don't feel like it. And now I just keep it all in my car, and I might randomly pop up whenever I feel like it, anytime, day or night, because that's what the out of towners do. And I'm missing out on so much by not having it.
And you talk about exploring and making connections with the city. Collaboration and community engagement have been fundamental to your work. Can you share a specific example of a project or initiative where these elements played a crucial role in achieving your goals?
I'm sure I could think of a number of things before this moment, but the Poetry Potluck is in front of us, and it's a great example of what's being asked. The Poetry Potluck is not mine. It is the community's. It belongs to all of the people who put it together, and that's because it wouldn't exist otherwise, and certainly wouldn't be as great. From the inception of the Poetry Potluck, the idea was there are these poets over here who don't know these poets over here, and all of these people are doing great things. I barbecued because I'm a contributor as well, right? But I asked that everybody else bring a dish that meant something to them, that was relative to their life, their culture, their upbringing, or it's just, this is the only thing I know how to cook that I'm willing to serve to other people. Whatever it is, it has a story, it has a bond, it has a connection. All of those people contributed to our meal and what we ate that night. And the night wouldn't have been the same without food. It wouldn't have been the same without food, and we all brought that together and made it happen. I provided parameters, I provided a space, and I may have provided a speaker. Everything else that made the night special was the people who contributed to it. When you look at the Poetry Potluck today, it is a potluck in and of itself. It is a potluck because everybody brings something to the table. The community resource partners, every friend of the family, every cousin that pulls up, everything that you eat, somebody contributed from their heart. Everything that you drink, somebody contributed. Like, all of these things are coming together because people put into it. And even to now, even that we've reached a point where we have donor support. We're actually backed by donors who know what we're doing. All the people, they come to the Poetry Potluck. They follow our Instagram page. They check up and ask questions like regular people. So they are part of that potluck. They are part of what's bringing all of this together. It exists because the community says it should.
So you advocate for increased access to education, housing, and medical opportunities for the chronically houseless in Miami. What steps do you believe are necessary to address these challenges effectively, and how can community contribute to these efforts?
First thing I'll say is that those are all things that I believe in, and those are all things that I could be doing a better job of bringing attention and action towards. As you say it, that comes to mind. One of the ways that I can do that, and I think that we can all do that in general, is one, by education. I think being educated on the issue, but then being educated on potential solutions or ways that we can enact change. We can't do anything unless we know that it exists and then know what to do about it. And then knowing what to do about it, practical steps are huge. A lot of times we have very lofty goals. These are, ending houselessness, ending hunger. Like these are huge things. So the more practical our goals are, the more centralized our goals are, the better we can be at actually completing them. It's one thing to say, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to tackle homelessness. I'm going to tackle, food disparity, and, I'm going to end food deserts. That sounds great, but is it a practical step to actually enacting change? Will it have longevity? Will it be sustainable? Is it a sustainable, actionable plan that you have put in place? I think that is very important. So the education, the practicality of the plan, and the sustainability of it would then be the second things that I think we really need to get going. And then understanding what it means to really have, not even understanding what it means, but having the resources in place. Gotcha. Making sure that we have the resources. That's financial resources, that's actual manpower, that might just be physical space where we can meet and enact a plan. All of those things are absolutely necessary for each one of those.
We work with you. We did a couple poetry potlucks with you. We just did your recent one. I just want to ask, I'm not sure if you know what Eracism is, but Eracism is the foundation of Erase the Hate. So you got Eracism and you got Erase the Hate. Right on the side of you, right there is a shirt. Eracism. In general terms, when you hear the word Eracism, what does it mean to you?
I hear a lofty goal and I see practical steps. So when I hear Eracism, I hear what I believe we probably most hear is erase racism. And the reason why I say a lofty goal is because we know we've been trying to end that since forever. And people have a wealth of reasons why they are the way they are. Even bigger, I think a lot of people don't even know themselves to actually be racist. And they are. They just don't think that they are, because maybe you have friends that look like XYZ, whatever underrepresented group you would like to call out. I can't be a racist. I believe that you can be racist with biracial children. The two things, one does not negate the other. So when I hear Eracism and I think of practical steps and goals, I think of the work I see being done is, how do we bring people together? How do we use things like media to really share our message and our goal? What do we actually produce in our media that combats the things that contribute to racism, the things that keep that going? How do we combat that and use this platform as a means of creating the world in which we desire to live in?
That was like probably one of the most perfect explanations. And basically what we want to do with racism is whatever it means to you. When you wear that shirt, whatever it means to you, man. So thank you for the explanation. And I also want to know, we work with you, of course. How has Erase the Hate performed as your media team, and what impact has it had on spreading your message, with your people and telling your story?
I think the cool thing, family is directly tied into everything we do in the Poetry Potluck. And I feel like working with Erase the Hate has been dope. It's kind of like two family members, like not two family members, but it's like families merged, right? And so somebody got married and now the cousins are getting to know one another, right? These two families are melding. The first time you come over to the house, you don't know all the rules or how it runs or how it's going, but you ask questions and you listen and you work it out. And by the second time you come over to these people's house, certainly by the third time you come to their house, but by the second time you come, you have a much better understanding. You know who to ask what, you know names, you know where things are, right? And if you don't know where things are, you're definitely not as afraid to just go and ask, right? You have a better plan in place when you go over there. And I think that I'm watching our relationship grow like that. I'm watching people that I know didn't know each other a little while ago. Now they're laughing and joking. And I think what makes that even better is when those families merge and then you start randomly see each other in public. So you see each other at an outing, you see each other at school, literally at school. There are people who I know have seen each other at school. You find out that you're in these other groups together, and that builds more of a bond. So again, when you see each other at the Poetry Potluck, the familiarity is being built in so many other ways that it just becomes fluid. I want people to work together like favorite cousins, because we don't like all our cousins and we don't work well with all of our favorite family members. So I'm imagining in a perfect world that this is just the cousins that you like. It's just the cousins that you like. And we're able to work together and build together, because when you all leave and you go home, this is home, and you have a means and a manner of working together here that has to then still be flexible and fluid enough that when you go elsewhere, when you go to somebody else's house, you still have to know how to behave. You still have to carry yourself. You still take care of each other, and then you take care of them too. You know, if me and if my cousins come over to my house and now we're all getting ready to go to the movies together, they got a way that they do things at home, and we have a way that we do things at home. But we also understand that when we go out together, whenever we do anything together, we're looking out for one another. We're holding each other accountable, and we holding each other down. And I think I've been able to watch that with our, I don't want to say team, with our families. Like I've been able to watch that occur, and I'm appreciative of it.
What are some upcoming plans and projects you have in store for 2024, especially related to the Poetry Potluck and your advocacy work? And also, you are with Black Men Build, and how has that impacted you? I've actually been to, I believe, 2 of them, and it impacted me because I feel like I have a space to be free. And what is your message for individuals like us men to attend those circles and get that that freedom that I feel like every man needs in this community that we live in nowadays?
In order for my brain to actually execute, I have to find intersections in everything that I do in life. Everything has a purpose. Everything feeds into something else. Black Men Build, for example, is one of our first cousins. Our first cousins are the organizations that build with us on an ongoing basis and have been building with us for at least the past 3 years, have been building with us on an ongoing basis. Black Men Build has been very instrumental to that growth in a few different ways. One of which is Black Men Build is always present and on site, not just for the purpose of political education, but presence. Being present, being Black men in the space, being men who other people respect in the space and know that they can call on in situations of discord and situations of just where anybody might need to be checked in on or looked out for. Even the smallest thing like walking somebody to their car, to a big thing like if there's a potential conflict. In addition to that opportunity for me to be in those spaces amongst just men and have really honest dialogue, vulnerable dialogue, has pushed me as a leader, has pushed me as a man in general, and has certainly pushed me as an artist. So I'm appreciative of that. Each time that we do a Poetry Potluck in a different city, the aim is to connect with a Black Men Build chapter in that city. And if there's not a Black Men Build chapter in that city, then my goal through the Poetry Potluck is to let them know about Black Men Build, so they're looking to start a Black Men Build chapter in their city. We've partnered with Black Men Build in New York. We actually had Black Men Build members present when we did the Poetry Potluck in Knoxville, Tennessee. It was really just by coincidence. And And then we're getting ready to partner with our Black Men Build chapter in LA as we partner with the Compton Cowboys in Compton this July, which is one of our plans for the Poetry Potluck. In addition to that, we're actually working on our artist residency, where we're going to have 7 to 8 creatives as a part of the artist residency for the Poetry Potluck. Hopefully it is a reflection of some of the great work that you all are doing here at Erace the Hate, and I can be asking you all questions on partnering and putting different creatives together and working in a space, and how to build that sort of community. And that the objective of that is professional development, creative development, and economic growth and sustainability for artists. That is what I want. It is not easy to be an artist and sustain a financially profitable lifestyle. Like, that's tough. Some of that is just because we don't have all the skills or the knowledge of what's available to us, provided that we have more skills. And I know that because I've taken different parts of my life and pulled them into my art, and taken my art and pulled that into other parts of my professional life. I'm enjoy facilitating our men's circles through Black Men Build, because I've been facilitating large group circles since I was 18 years old. So that's a skill set that I've built over here, working with youth, working in community, that I'm able to take into our men's circles. And I've also pulled that from doing creative writing workshops, and vice versa. They all pull into one another.
Gotcha, man. And you just said a lot, and you just said a bunch. So I'm already knowing that you face challenges that, you can use for our next generation. You already faced the challenges. So with these upcoming entrepreneurs and, people that's already situated, what is your message to them to keep going? Endurance, what is like, I would say, your slogan, your daily walk of life, what you get up, what is your purpose?
One step at a time. One step at a time is absolutely, those are words that I live by. It's an understanding, like, I've learned that sometimes I got to slow myself down, chill out a little bit. It's okay to say no to things is another big one. You really don't have to say yes to everything, and you have more time than you think. And if you should happen to die before something happens that you were planning on doing, you weren't supposed to do it. You did everything that you were supposed to do with the time that you had, because otherwise white supremacy and the culture around things like racism forces us to be on a hamster wheel our entire life. There's no benefit to working my entire life for things that I don't get to enjoy. Or overworking myself, or feeling like in order to be a man, I have to work myself to the bone. There's sleep is for the weak, or sleep when I die. That's crazy. I'm gonna sleep today. I'm gonna sleep well. I'm gonna sleep till 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm gonna enjoy all of those things. But in order to do so, I'm gonna have to say no to something else. I'm not gonna be wealthy tomorrow. You know what I mean? Whatever it is, people who have it all are not necessarily happy.
Got you, man.
So peace first, and protect your peace. Be selective about your team, but also have a team. Ask for help. And if there's one word I would leave any group of people with, it's discernment. Practice, learn, and exercise discernment and healthy decision making.